Good morning, everybody. Rise and shine. We're back on Eastern Island time right here at Tiki Man Radio, TikiManRadio.com. Happy Friday to you, everybody. We made it. Oh, everything's going to be just fine. Weekdays with the Tiki Man and Johnny B coming up. That's what I'm talking about. Happy Friday to you, everybody. How you doing, Johnny B?
Good. Hey, good morning, everybody. Up and at 'em, rise and shine. Yes, indeedy. Happy Friday. We made it. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, I tell you, man, it's been, it has been busy around here for sure. And, but it's, man, I'm so glad it's Friday. And I'm so glad that we're going to have Dockmate. Is going to be our sponsor of the show. Did I lose?
Oh, yeah.
Your screen froze up on me there, Johnny.
Oh, I'm sorry about that. We'll take care of that. But good morning to Dockmate. Yeah, I tell you, I'm watching the pre-roll there. And, wow, man, that is fantastic.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yeah, we've been working and working and working and working. And, you know, finally, and we got to thank Brian Burns for helping us with that project. He was the one that reached out to him at the boat show and kind of been working behind the scenes and getting everything squared away and making it happen.
I got to tell you what, I am so looking forward to having them on the air, and I just want to give a big shout out and say thank you.
Yeah.
And as we prepare this little technical difficulty here, you know, we'll be just fine. Just a second.
Yeah. There we go. We probably have to kick you off and sign back in there, Johnny.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back. Well, happy Friday to you, everybody. I hope everybody's doing fabulous. And man, it's so exciting to have Dockmate come on board with our sponsor for the show. They're going to join us around noon today, and we got some promotional videos that we're going to be playing for them. Let's see if we can get Johnny back in here now. There you are, man.
I tell you what, it's got to be the island airwaves here. I don't know what's going on, you know. But we're living it like your podcast this morning, which is great. If anyone hasn't had a chance to listen to it, by all means do so. It's about living in the moment, and we just experienced the moment. It happened that fast. We forgot about it. Now we're moving on.
That's right. You know, in radio and now television, we're always living in the moment. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah.
I see Mo is out there this morning. Good morning, Mo. Hope you're doing fabulous. Let's see here. Kevin is out there this morning. Good morning to you. I believe that's Kevin and Angel. I'm having to look over here at a different screen today, but it looks like they've been out in Las Vegas. You ever been out to Vegas?
Oh, no, sir, I have not, but I know you've been there about 22 times.
Yeah, I think more than that. It was more like 22 years I would go, and in Las Vegas years that's 40. But I would be out there for a week for business meetings, and man, I haven't left that much in Vegas. But I would like to go back one more time and see that sphere that they have built out there, and see a concert in there.
I don't know. Maybe one day we'll be hosting a show out there.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know what could happen. You never know.
Yeah.
Doors close and then they open, and you never know where you're going.
Well, those of you that don't know anything about Dockmate, that's what this show is going to be about now that they've come on for a year of sponsorship. And, let's see here. Let's get the, y'all clap right quick. There we go. And, I was so excited about this because when I first discovered it, it's a wireless remote control to dock your boat for you. And, think of the marriages that's going to save.
Yeah, you got that right.
Yeah, I mean, if you ever been to a marina and watch people try to dock their boat, it's somewhat hilarious, and it's embarrassing if you're not an expert at it, because everybody's looking at you when you pull in there.
Oh, yeah. As you know, I grew up in a sport fishing family and professional. And, to watch those captains back down on the dock every time they came in, it was unbelievable. You watch them back down a 62, 72-foot sport fishing boat. And, wow, it just blows my mind every time.
Yeah.
Do it. But now you can do it remote with Dockmate.
Well, there you go. And that's what we're going to be. They're going to join us around noon today. And so excited. They're going to be calling in once a month, depending on what's going on and which boat show that they're going to be at coming up. So they do a lot of boat shows. Obviously, that's their niche. With this, they go in. From my understanding, they go in a few days ahead of time. Anybody that wants to learn about this product, they can sign up. They take them out on the water and they show them how to do it. And that way they can even buy it for their, like I saw them working with Marine Max. Doing some training with those guys. So it's all good stuff, man. And that seems to be one of the things we've learned through this. I was talking to B-Man this week, and I was telling him, we've learned a lot. I mean, it's been somewhat frustrating on the business side of things, but we've learned a lot. And we've learned there's a lot of accessories that are tied to a lot of these boat companies and marinas. And that seems to be something that we've discovered, and that may be something that's going to help us as we go on down the road.
I tell you what, I believe it will. Like you had said, one door's got to close, another door opens. And also, like you said about coffee sponsors.
Yes.
If we have a chance to sample it, well, I'm thinking Dockmate. Maybe we should go out and use the remote control and see how it really works. All right, I can see us on the boat now. Here, Danny, hold my beer. Watch this. And we'll do this with the remote control. I got it.
Well, on the Sunday show this week, we're going to have Manalo and Mark Mulch. Mark Mulch will actually be here in the studio with the new coffee. So we're going to get a chance to taste it. And they said Monday that they had mailed out the samples. They sold all their coffee at Music on the Bay, so it kind of put them in a bind, which is a good problem to have. But if you're a radio guy that's insisting on tasting coffee before you talk about it, it's a problem. So they're going to bring it here Sunday and be on the Sunday show, and that way we can test it. So in my mind, you and I can be on the boat with our Dockmate wireless control, right? Drinking our coffee.
Mm-hmm. Now that's an advertisement.
I'm telling you. An ad. Everybody wants to be like the Tiki Man and Johnny B when we're drinking our coffee and our wireless remote is docking our boat for us.
Yeah, isn't that pretty cool? We just sit there in the deck chairs.
Absolutely.
Coffee, clink.
Yeah.
That is wonderful. Yeah, man, I tell you what, I'm looking forward to Dockmate coming on board, looking forward to some coffee. And you know me, you can't get enough coffee and you can't have enough Dockmates.
That's right. Marty Gentry's out there today. Good morning to you, brother. I hope you're doing fabulous. Robin Emmerich is out there. She's out there this morning. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing wonderful. Yeah. Everybody's saying, everybody's saying happy Friday 13th. It's a lucky day when you're here with the Tiki Man and Johnny B.
That's right. We show you how to work your way through problems like we just experienced when we opened the show. Hey, easy breezy, man. Door closes, another one opens. It's like, hey, I got this. Like we've always said, we could do it. We could broadcast the show from Mars with a bobby pin. Not a problem, man. We got this.
Yeah, I know. I forget what that was. It Martian? That was the name of the movie. Yeah, Martian, where he's crashed on Mars and he's got to figure out how to get out of there. And I always thought you had to have some kind of radio experience, to be able to pull that off.
Yeah, and it would be great if they had a Dockmate system. It'd have been a lot easier just get that spaceship up, down, up. I'd be in there like remote control. Yeah, I got you, Houston. We're coming in. Hold on. Let me take a sip of my coffee. Yeah, I'm back with you, Houston.
Yeah, if I'm in the movie, my coffee cup would have my sponsor's logo there, as I'm doing my Dockmate wireless remote to get off of Mars.
Oh, yeah, that would be great. Yeah, that would be great. My coffee is way over there, and I reach for it every now and then, only because I spilled it once. You know that. You had to cover the show for me. I spilled an entire cup of coffee on a computer, on a laptop. I'm like, nope, nope, nope. They never have been on a broadcast console since.
Well, I've had a busy week, and we were also working with Uncle Alex is out there this morning. Good morning to you, man. I hope you're doing fabulous. He'll be here bartending on Sunday, I do believe. Bloody Marys, and again, Manalo and Mark Mulch will be here Sunday with the coffee, so we can finally taste the coffee. Hopefully, put that deal together so we'll have our coffee sponsor here for the show as well. But
I'm going to take a flight off the island and come all the way there to be part of this. Occasionally I do get off the island, but yeah, you never know when I may show up.
Well, it's been busy around here. We're also working with Beth Travers. She has 2 new books out, and it's fascinating. There are murder mysteries. Imagine this. She is imagine a working musician in Nashville, and it's tough, in between gigs, you got to take side hustles. A lot of musicians will bartend, they'll do this, they'll do that, have other jobs on the side, but their passion is music. Well, in this scenario, the musician solves murder mysteries on the side. So she wrote these books several years ago, and she just republished them, right? And so we're going to be helping her on the Tiki Bar Publishing Company side to promote these books. And both are out now. And I've got a little video clip that I put together that I was going to play on the Sunday show. I still have to edit it. We were editing things right up to this show this morning.
Wow.
So I'm going to go ahead and play it so I can get it out there so everybody can see what it's all about. But it's a fascinating thing that she's got going on.
I think that's great. I think it's awesome. I love this. A good twist with musicians. You know how I am about arts, entertainment, all of it. My whole life's absorbed into it. But yeah, maybe someday the Tiki Man and Johnny B can go ahead and solve a mystery. Like, okay, nobody move. I'll put my beer down and I can't find it.
Yeah, well, the books are under E. Travers, which is Beth Travers' evil twin. All right, so there's all kinds of plots and plots and things that are going on with this, and so I've had to kind of create little short movies about these, and I've been working a lot on that. I worked on it all day yesterday. And then naturally we got to do some edits after all that because she's traveling. She's a working musician. She's out there. She's doing her thing. So it's not like we can sit down and say, oh, I love this or I love that. I got to kind of take what is in her head and then kind of put it all together. But I think once we get all the little edits out of the way, everybody will be pleased with it.
Well, I kind of figured you were pretty busy because it's been really quiet around here. And I figured, well, I know he's busy. I'm not going to bother him. He knows how to reach me if he wants to talk. But, we just know that we know how to get things done. You're busy. I don't bother you.
Well, now that we got a sponsor, I got to send you some money. So I got to figure out how I did that before when I was sending your tip money. So,
I'll have to send you my PayPal link.
There we go.
That'll work.
We got to keep you in sardines and crackers, man.
Yeah, I mean, I'm getting low on Baini sausage here on the island, man. Times are tough. I got to go out there and fish and catch my meal every night.
Times are tough, man. It's a rough world out there right now.
Yeah, it sure is. But, that's why we're here to provide some entertainment and enlighten everybody's day with words of wisdom and a little bit of humor.
There you go. Donna and Bob Cummings are out there. Good morning to you. Hope you're doing fabulous. I've got I basically have taken. I had an office upstairs, and I would go up there and I'd work on all the promotional stuff and whatever it is I'm doing for my sponsors and all the other things I got going on. And then when I wanted to do radio, I'd come down here and work on whatever it is I need to do in the studio. Well, the reason I had that out there was that I used to smoke, right? And it was out in the sunroom, so it was convenient for me. I had a TV, I had everything. I had a little bar, had all kinds of things up there. But a couple of weeks ago, I was like, what the hell am I doing? You know, it's the weather goes up and down like a yo-yo. It can be 75 degrees here in Tennessee and be 40 the next day. So I got the heater, and then pollen season is getting ready to hit. So, you know, then I got to close everything up there to keep the pollen from coming in the office. I'm like, what the hell am I doing? So I just moved everything down in here in the studio.
Wow. Yeah. I hope you brought a cot, you know, because I haven't heard from you in a week.
Yeah. Well, I live here now. I live in this room.
Man, if I could get a cot in here, this studio is jam-packed with equipment. I got to step outside to change my mind. But that's the way it goes, you know. At least I can paddle over to the bar behind me.
Hey, we get a little tip money coming in there. Thank you, guys. Appreciate that. That helps us out.
Yes,
we're like, I don't know if you guys have those people where you live, you know, that stand by the interstate, and they're part of a group of people that go and want to be at this interstate, and you think it's a homeless guy, and probably they are homeless or whatever, but there's a group of those people that travel around and does that sort of thing. I feel like that's what we've been doing. We need to be holding up a sign.
Hold up a sign.
Yeah.
Radio broadcasters.
Yeah, we'll work for radio.
We'll work for live shows.
Tip money for radio.
Yeah.
I think that's where we're at, Johnny.
Yeah. I tell you, when you get older, you know, they try to kick us through the curb, but we're still here.
That's right. Well, and there's a lot of people that ain't here no more, and so we're just kind of plugging along.
You know, you just can't kill us, man. It's like I said a while back, you know, radio's like Hotel California. You can check out, but you can never leave. But sponsors here keep us in food, so we keep on believing.
Yeah. Well, what we're going to do is I'm going to play the promotional thing. Now, remember, this has to be edited. There's a couple little phrases, you know, because I've got it like take a musical journey. Right. But it's really not a musical journey. We were talking about that this morning, that it's not about music, even though it's a musician that does side gigs and solves murder mysteries on the side. It's really about a murder mystery. So I got to change a few things. But I already had it loaded up, and I just simply run out of time. So I'll get that fixed. But I want to get it out there because I already thrown it out there, and we're getting a lot of comments. I want to know. So.
All right.
So we're going to play that and get this day started off right the island way. And then we're going to come back, and I've got a promotional video, again, that they sent over this morning about 42 minutes ago from Dockmate that I got loaded up. We want to play that before they come on at 12, okay?
Gotcha.
All right, so let's get ready to rock and roll. Here is the promotional video for Beth Travers. Here we go, everybody. Do you like a good murder mystery? Let me tell you about the Sheridan Nash Mystery Series. Take a musical journey with Eli Travers, Beth Travers' evil twin. You know, being a working musician is tough work. Sometimes you need side gigs. The Sheridan Nash Mystery Series is set in the heart of Nashville, where working musicians often get side gigs. And in the Sheridan Nash Mystery Series, you play music by day and solve murder mysteries at night. You all know Beth Travers. Now learn about her evil twin, E. Travers, who has 2 new books out. The Older the Violin, the Sweeter the Music, and Sing Crazy. Both books are out now, available on Amazon and Barnes & Noble. That's right, playing music by day and solving murder mysteries by night. Girl gotta do what a girl's gotta do.
Down to 7 miles, closer, get ready, here we little too sunny. Some places they got plenty of shade. Well, I don't mind going out and breaking a sweat. And I don't mind taking an easy day. Wherever I am, 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 wherever I am. Yeah, you can catch me living in the moment wherever I am. Some places they're just a little too hot. Some places they're all a little cold. Long as that sun's gonna keep on shining, well, I can make the best of both. Some places got me feeling high. Some places get me a little low. Well, I'm always chasing all of the good vibes. They seem to find me wherever I go. Wherever I am, 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 wherever I am. Yeah, you can catch me living in the moment wherever I am. Some places they're just a little too boozy. Some places they're just a little dry. Well, I like it somewhere there in the middle. I got no worries, got no sense of time. Some places they're all a little too crazy. Some places they're just a little too tame. Well, I don't mind taking a ride on the wild side. And I don't mind a little getaway. Wherever I am, 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 wherever I am. Yeah, you can catch me living in the moment wherever I am. Wherever I am. Wherever I am, wherever I am, wherever I am, wherever I am, wherever I am. Yeah, you can catch me living in the moment wherever I am. You can catch me living in the moment wherever I am. Yeah, you can catch me just living my best life wherever I am.
That's right. Mr. Manalo there, wherever I am. And like I said, he's going to be joining us remotely. Martin Mulch will be here in the studio this weekend, and looking forward to finally tasting some of that coffee.
Oh, yeah, man. I tell you what a great guy. Great song, Wherever I Am. It's like, that's where I need to be. Wherever I is, that's where I am, and that's where I need to be. And I'll tell you what, great reel with E. Travers.
Oh, yeah. That's I worked on those all day yesterday, and I had to do several of them, different ones, and every time we change something, I got to go in and edit it. So I've got it on another computer where it can make the edits as needed, but it's a little, trying to get the message across, trying to make it a mystery. It's like those clips are kind of like a little short movie.
Mm-hmm. Oh, very informative, no doubt about it. And I got to tell you, my girlfriend Robin reads a lot on Kindle.
Oh.
And I'm sure she's going to dig into it because she'll blow through about 4 or 5 books before I get through one.
Yeah. Well, they're also on Kindle, available on Kindle as well. You can also go over to tikimanradio.com, go over to our website, go over on the Tiki Bar Publishing page, just click it in the menu there, and you'll see the books. You can click on each individual one. It'll take you right where you can buy them.
Oh, man, I saw your stuff out there, and, you're doing great work here. Great promotional content that you've been creating. That's why I don't bother you. I see what you're putting out there, and then I get the early morning podcast, the space between the waves, and, I listen to it. I put on my headphones.
Do you really?
She's still sleeping. Yeah, I'll put on headphones.
Wow.
Yeah, but, yeah, I tune in. Great stuff. And also the Dockmate, man, another great reel. But they sent that over, and I'm watching that. I'm like, I'd really like to try that. And we should try that with the coffee cups in our hand.
Yeah.
Dockmate.
Yeah, absolutely. We need some Dockmate coffee cups with our new sponsor, Dockmate, coming on board to sponsor Weekdays with the Tiki Man and Johnny B. And, hopefully we'll get a coffee sponsorship as well, and we can have our coffee in that coffee cup. That'll be great.
Yeah. I tell you what, and you were right at the beginning of the show. I'll bet you that Dockmate has saved many a marriage.
Yeah.
I've seen that on small boats and all that. But I'll bet you that's a good one there. There's a good commercial in the making. All right, I'm helping you with this content creation. I'm a conceptual guy.
Yeah.
So you got to create that.
Well, we talk to a lot of companies, and, not every company is fits into the whole coastal Americana Tiki Man world, if you will. And, it just doesn't fit. I get a lot of inquiries from other rum companies and stuff. Well, listen, I can't promote all the rum in the world. I focus on what I like, and I like reef rum, so... that's why I always say, if we have a rum company or a beer company or whatever, that's an exclusive for us. That we're not promoting anything else, So,
Right.
But we do talk to a lot of companies, and every once in a while, something like Dockmate comes along, and I'm like, man, I can do so much with that right there, because we've all been there. We've all had to, not everybody, I guess, but if you've ever been in a situation where you had to dock a boat, depending on the size, how crowded it is, the marina, where the dock is, all this other stuff, it can be kind of tricky. So this is an amazing technology that's come along.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I've had to, in the past, I've backed down a 28 single screw. That's really hard in a tight spot. A 21 Mako with a single outboard, never easy. But once you get the hang of it, you get the hang of it. But Dockmate would have made it so much easier instead of, forward, backward, forward on a single screw that only spins one way. Think about that, because it constantly pulls you in reverse to one corner of the dock, and you got to bump it forward so it kicks the rear end around, kicks the stern around, so you can back down straight. So Dockmate would have made that so much easier.
Yeah. Well, boats do not discriminate. I've seen a lot of women out there who can drive boats better than men. I've seen men that would never touch any of this technology because, they think they know it all. But for the rest of the world, it's okay to try some new technology. And if it makes your life better, try it,
Oh, yeah. Hey, I'm always experimenting with technology. And with all the new AI technology out there, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Just amazing. And I love getting in with it. And even though, a lot of it's free, you can go over there and just mess around and see what it does. And that's me, I'm going in there, checking it out. And like, wow, this is really cool. But it has just advanced so far, so fast. And here we have, these propulsion systems. There's so much technology that goes into this.
Yeah, and they're going to be at the Palm Beach International Boat Show, March the 25th through the 29th. And so if you're going to be anywhere around Palm Beach, you could go over to the boat show and check it out. They'll show you how this all works. Of course, they're going to join us at noon today to introduce themselves to us, and we can introduce them to you. get some more information. But I do have a video that I want to play before they come on board. So I want to, they sent it over this morning about 15 minutes before we went on the air. So I had to scramble and get it into the system. You got to download it, and then you got to put it in. You got to set the settings and the music and all this other stuff. But it's, I had 15 minutes, so that gave me a little wiggle room.
Oh, heck yeah, man. That's a little bit more time than I had this morning. I had about 10 seconds.
Yeah.
To make it work, if that. But you can do it. If it can be, it's up to me. All right? Now, I've heard that somewhere. Where have I heard that? If it can be, it's up to me. All right?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah. That's what I used to. Yeah, that's what I used to say was, if it's going to be, it's up to me. And I would use that quite often, because a lot of people, I had a lot of employees that worked for me over the years, and they always wanted to blame others, do this, do that, whatever, depend on other people. But at some point in time or another, you do have to sail your own ship and take responsibility for what happens.
Absolutely. The level of accountability everywhere has been going down the tubes.
Yeah.
And, everybody just needs to step up and take responsibility. Just get it done, man.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I see.
The era of how we grew up is changed.
Yeah, to say the least.
Yeah. I mean, our motto always has been, you and I and a lot of people, no is not the answer and failure is not an option. And I was raised like that. And, started working at 14. Hey, all of us had to get to work, do things. Nowadays, I don't know what's going on. And a lot of people can't even count change backwards.
Yeah.
So times have changed.
Yeah, I started watching this new series on Apple TV called Shrinking. And it's about, what's his name that plays in the Indiana Jones movies? What's his name? Harrison Ford.
Mm-hmm.
He's a shrink who has Parkinson's, the early stages of Parkinson's, but he's a shrink as well. So it's about these shrinks that, have all these patients and they create all these other, parts of the show and all this other stuff. But it's really interesting to watch Harrison Ford and in a series where the things about getting older, right, is what this is all about. So I wasn't too excited to start watching it. I mean, I was at first because Harrison Ford is in it, and but it's a comedy as well. So nobody's getting killed and all that stuff, So it's a comedy series. So if you have Apple TV, check it out. I highly recommend that. Callie McCool from the West Coast is out there. The Callie McCool and the kids.
Morning, Callie.
Yeah, happy Friday to you. And Graham Andrews is out there. So good morning to everybody at Uptown Whimsy. Hope everybody's doing fabulous down in Melbourne, Florida today. And hope everybody's doing great. It's great. I mean, maybe Friday the 13th, but are you superstitious, Johnny B?
I'm a little bit of everything, but I'm not worried about Friday the 13th because I have a belief about that. And, everything's going to be just fine.
What is the character in the Friday the 13th movies? Is that Jason? Or is that Halloween?
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah, I can't remember the name of the character. Maybe you guys can chime in and tell me, but I saw a meme out there today that he was sitting at a table reading a book, places to go. Happy Friday 13th.
I thought you were going to hold up a sign. He was looking for money out on the road, too.
Yeah, that's right. Everybody's looking for something. But anyway, let me play this video because it's a little long, but I want to get it in before they get on the show. And we'll play another song and come back and get ready for those guys to join us at noon. You're listening to Weekdays with the Tiki Man and Johnny B right here on Tiki Man Radio. If you're watching us out on YouTube, please hit that like button. That helps us out tremendously. You can also put some money, we call it sardine money, in the tip jar there for Johnny B. So that's always helpful as well, but because times are tough.
Thank you very much. And if I'm not here, you'll see me out on the side of the road holding up a sign.
Tips for radio. All right, Johnny, let me see if I can get this video in here, and we'll play that for everybody. Happy Friday to you, everybody.
I'll show you something. Oh, wow, wow. You don't want to miss this. It's the new sound. It's the new sound. New hype, new vibe, new wave, good times. It's the new sound.
Ahoy hoy, I am Captain Boomies. I have been professionally salty for 25 years. I always am very happy when I see that a boat has Dockmate installed. It makes my life so easy. I can step on board, know how to press that button, and I'm ready to go. It really changes the docking game. It's a long distance from the helm to the bow here, and this docking setup is a little unusual. And whenever that happens, I love having a remote so that I can maneuver from all the way up here and handle all my dock lines. Fabulous. Coming back to you. What I really like about this is I know I've got room off the bow right now, but this is such an unusual dock that I'm not 100% sure how much swing room I have at the stern. And I have a huge swim platform to worry about. But I can start my rotation now and know that I'm totally clear back here. But maybe I'm feeling a little nervous about what's going on the bow. I feel like I have even more time to decide what to do because I can see just how close I'm actually getting over here. And again, I'm a little nervous about that swim platform and how big she is, so I'm gonna go take a look. Yep, tons of room. You're still looking good. So right now, I'm using the rotation feature in order to spin my way through this marina. I could go hop on the helm and use my throttles and steer at this point. But this is a new marina to me, and I'm still not 100% sure what's going on the other side of this next turn. I can kind of see it, and I looked at the chart, but I want to keep it slow for now and very maneuverable. Let me head back to the bow and look around that blind corner. Why am I working so hard? Here we go. When you approach a dock, if you do it the way the pros do, you want to do it nice and slow. And you're going to do it with little bumps in gear. And that looks like put it in gear, feel it push, and then take it out of gear very quickly. I call it bump. Dockmate calls it soft docking. And they've actually programmed that thing into the remote. And I do it intuitively with this. So let me take command over here. We're going to do a bump. There it was. And it's the same bump time-wise as I would do naturally over here on the throttles. I love it because if you have butterfingers and you really slam it, it still just gives you that one little bump in gear. So if you're at a dock, and you don't overdo it and go ramming into something. Slow as pro. Ooh. So I'm gonna do it gentle like. And now I'm gonna do it aggressive. Both gave me the same bump. All right, time to get off the dock. I'm one-arm docking right now. That's pretty good. Honestly, this is the only way you can do this. God, it makes it easy. Okay. I mean, take her away from the dock. Can you see how easy that is? It's just a little joystick. All right, go have a chat. We're in the Great Lakes. I don't spend a lot of time up here. I certainly don't know this area that well, but this gentleman does, and I'm very excited to ask him a bunch of questions.
It's the new sound.
Dockmate's been around for a while, but you all won an Innovation Award this past Miami Boat Show. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so Dockmate unveiled last year the Dockmate positioning system, which is the first dynamic positioning system that can be installed aftermarket on a boat.
That's pretty innovative. Dynamic positioning is insanely valuable to me as a captain who runs boats by herself a lot, because I need to be able to hover outside of marinas and set all my lines and fenders before I go in. Show me how it works.
Just go ahead and press the function button on the remote, and you'll get an audio signal to let you know that it's been engaged. And then basically the boat will pay attention to the current and the wind for motion, and then it will turn the boat stern in and then hold it in place. And that's all you have to do.
Oh, I like that.
You also have the ability where you can move the boat while it's in, while DPS is enabled, so you can adjust the position of the boat with the remote, and then the DPS system will reposition itself.
Oh yeah, there she goes. All right, I'm gonna go adjust the lines and fenders. Pardon me. You stay right there. Keep looking pretty. All right. The boat's got it handled. I'm gonna go set lines and fenders. Now, of course, I have to continue to maintain a lookout while I'm doing this, but that's easy to do while I'm out here.
It's the new sound. It's the new sound. New hype.
Most of the time, when you've got big open spaces, yes, you are just gonna let the boat drift while you do all this work. But I don't always have that luxury. I'm sometimes in more crowded harbors where it becomes important for me to be able to hold a true position. Otherwise, I have to keep shuttling back and forth to the helm while I do all of this work of setting my lines and fenders where I want them to be. This is why I love dynamic positioning, because I'm so picky about my lines. It really helps to have time to set them up, no matter where you are. I'm still having such a hard time with understanding the part where you install this system in a day.
So yeah, typically it takes us about 2 to 3 hours to do the physical install. I mean, depending on features and things like that, but that's a typical time frame that for me to actually get the receiver installed and connected to your controls. And then immediately after, we take you out on the water and we teach you how to use it, and then we fine tune and customize it for your preferences, adjust for boats, different variety of engines, controls, that kind of thing. But yeah, I mean, typically 2 to 3 hours, and then about an hour, hour and a half on the water. We can get you dialed in.
My mind is totally blown. That's ridiculously cool. Let's head back to the dock.
Listen up, all eyes on me. I'll show you who you wanna be. Hey. Yeah, hey. Look at that, you won't believe it's all you want, it's all you need. Hey. Yeah, hey. Oh, wow. It's going down. Oh, wow. Talk of the town. You ain't seen nothing. I'll show you something. Oh, wow.
It's awfully nice of Dockmate to let me do this today, because It's important to me that when people ask me what I think about different products on board, I can talk about it knowledgeably. This is a very special day for me.
It's the new sound. It's the new sound. New hype, new vibe, new wave, good times. It's the new sound.
I think about boats, I think about fishing, I think about life and what I'm missing. I think about time, oh, the time that I wasted all my life. Thinking about boats, when I was just a kid chasing castles in the air. My imagination could take me anywhere, sailing on a pirate ship like every young man's dream, across the southern oceans and the islands in the stream. Think about boats, I think about fishing, I think about life and what I'm missing. I think about time, oh, the time that I wasted all my life. Thinking about boats, staked out on a sandbar, I can see the tarpon roll, the glassy water shining like a mirror to my soul. Waiting birds tread softly, and I hear an osprey call, and I realize it's not the fish I'm searching for at all. Think about boats, I think about fishing, I think about life and what I'm missing. I think about time, oh, the time that I wasted all my life. Thinking about boats, so fondly on a lifetime filled with boats, and despite some troubled waters, I've always stayed afloat. Mackenzie's in Montana, Ponga's in Belize, schooners in the islands, flat skiffs in the Keys. Think about boats, I think about fishing, I think about life and what I'm missing. Oh, I think about time, oh, the time that I wasted all my life. Thinking about boats all my life. Thinking about boats.
That's right. Thinking about boats all the time. Now I'm thinking about Dockmate and boats. Yeah, that video was a little choppy, but I didn't get a chance to look at it that much before the show. Obviously, they sent it right over, but I'll get the details worked on that. But it seems like a pretty good video showing you how it worked.
Oh yeah, I tell you what, that's got to make life so much easier. And she covered a lot of things that I've seen and witnessed, especially on those big boats where you have to jog. I mean, we've seen it during the White Marlin Open where the big sport fishermen are coming in. They've got 20 piled up. They're lined up to get to the weigh-in scale, and it's a long, inlet. and they're jogging those engines back and forth to maintain position as they line up to come up into Harbor Island where the weigh-in is. And I've actually witnessed Michael Jordan's boat coming in. That thing is huge, and Harbor Island is very small. And I can only imagine the stress on that captain bringing that big boat in there just to do the weigh-in and then pull back out. It's amazing. He may have Dockmate. I don't know.
He may have Dockmate. You know, it's kind of like Kenny Chesney's big-ass boat down in Key West. You know when he's in town when that boat is there. And, you know, I'm sure they've got Dockmate and dock captains and everything else to drive that boat.
I'm reading his book right now, Heart Life Music. And, you know, and he also on Sirius XM had said, you know, he's thinking about getting a captain's license. And he said, nah, I'll just let Captain Dan do it, you know, his boat captain.
Yeah.
He said, nah, I got other things to do. I'll just stay with music and let him run the boat.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if you can have a dock or a boat captain, then by all means, let the boat captain drive the boat.
Yeah. Otherwise, you get Dockmate.
That's right.
We need radio mate.
That's right. B-Man is chiming in from Key West, and what a great job those guys did down in Music on the Bay. Did a fantastic job, and they are back in Key West. You know, they took a little trip over to Disney World. You know, if you leave the mainland, if you leave Key West and go to the mainland, Michelle's got to go to Disney World. So they went, had a good time, and now he's back into Key West where, you know, I got to go to this meeting, I got to go to that meeting. You know, he's like a big celebrity down there. Yeah, he really is. I mean, he can't walk down the street without people wanting to stop and ask his opinion about something. So,
oh, really? Well, I understand Kenny reaches out to him too.
Well, they do, you know, talk to each other, you know, on their bicycles, you know.
Hey, Kenny.
Yeah, he's like, hey, K-Man, hey, B-Man. That's how that rode. Yeah.
I tell you, man. How did the party go, or the farewell celebration go after the Sunday show?
It went really well. We had a pretty good group of friends here, and took a bunch of pictures and had a lot of great food, and just, you know, relaxed, enjoyed the day, and sent B-Man or B-Dog and Lou off on their adventure back to Ohio to the frozen north. And since I'm not ever going to go to Ohio because it snows there all the time, I suspect we'll never see them again.
Never say never. Never. We know better. Never say never.
Well,
but yeah, I thought that was a good show.
Yeah, well, when people move back home to where their whole family is, right, there's really no reason to come back here.
Now, wait a minute. I understand the house next door to you is for sale.
Well, it was. They sold it in about 7 days. Carrie, and I believe I had them on the show last Sunday as well. They're as well moving to California. But they sold that house in about 7 days and got what they wanted for it. It was amazing. I don't want to talk about the price, but I'm pretty happy with it because it just helps the value of my house.
Well, you know, Robin and I were talking. She said, "Oh my God, if we move next door, I will never see you."
That's right.
Well, she said if we did that, she has to have access to your pool, tiki bar, and all that. Put a little gate between our houses or something.
Yeah,
a little door so she can get in.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's funny. I mean, like, you finally move here next to a tiki bar. Why in the hell would you want to move anywhere else? I mean, come on.
I know. I was showing her pictures that you posted last week of your tiki bar. And, you know, I remember being there, and I said, yeah, look at this. He's got the chocolate bar. He's got the tiki bar. He's got an upstairs bar. Hell, he's even got the Danny box. You know, that's how we roll.
But, yeah, great video by Dockmate. They sent that over this morning, and it's a little choppy because, like I said, I didn't have a chance to straighten it out or anything before the show, but I will. But everybody got the gist of it, and she did a great job of going through all the details of how Dockmate works. And, man, again, just saving marriages, saving the world from divorces through Dockmate is probably a pretty good slogan, too.
Yeah, you know, we should get a marital counselor in, and he can recommend Dockmate. Yeah. You know, another sponsor brought to you by.
That's right. That's right. But
That would be great, man. I love all those little toys. I love just press the buttons and it does this and it does that.
that's right. And of course, you're going to be down in Palm Beach International Boat Show. They're going to be there March the 25th through the 29th. They do a lot of boat shows, obviously. That's their showroom, basically, to show everybody what this is about. They'll be at booth 829. Make sure you go by there, and if you're interested, and get some information. Even if you're not interested, check it out, because you might know somebody that has a boat that does.
Right. Absolutely. You may be able to save a marriage.
You may be able to save a marriage. Say, listen, Bob, you and Charlene really need this. I'm going to buy it for you for Christmas, because I'm so damn tired of hearing y'all argue about every time you try to dock the boat.
Yeah, there you go. I like that. We could have a lot of fun with this, but also, if they would send us reels and things they would like us to promote, we'll do it. We will do it.
Well, that's the next step, is to take whatever they send me and cut it up, a little bit, do some promotional stuff. That's one of my things that I've gotten really good at, and just kind of like Beth Travers, little teaser for her books, which, again, are available out on Amazon and Barnes & Noble, by the way. And you can go over to TikiManRadio.com, click on the Tiki Bar Publishing, and check on it. I believe you can read up to the first 3 chapters. You can preview books on Amazon. And it's also available on Kindle, and we will have more details about that. It's been a busy week around here, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. If you need anything edited, send it on over. I've got a few programs.
Well, let's see if we can get Bill in here with Dockmate, and see if we can get some information from him. Let's see what we got here. See if we can get him in here. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good. I'm doing really well.
Are you up?
Live my best life here in Southwest Florida.
Well, I know that's correct. If you're on your phone on this platform, you can turn it sideways, and it'll work just fine.
I'm actually on my PC, on my laptop.
Okay. All right. Well, no problem.
Can we do that? Does that change? No, that's not what I want. Really? Okay. I don't know how to fix it.
Okay. Well, don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
All right.
Well, first of all, welcome to Tiki Man Radio and Weekdays with the Tiki Man and Johnny B. And we are so excited to be working with you guys. We've been we played the video that you guys sent over this morning, kind of a gist of it earlier to give everybody some ideas about it. But we kind of keep coming back to saving marriages through Dockmate.
Yeah. Well, I always used to tell people at boat shows that when they would buy those headsets, for the captain and his wife out on the thing, that they were basically there so you could swear at your wife and the whole dock didn't have to hear you yelling at her. Dockmate certainly eliminates that problem. Honestly, what better way to be close to your most precious cargo, right? You got your wife or your kids or your significant other on board, and at that point, you're 3 feet away from them, 10 feet away from them, whatever. You're not 30 feet away on a fly bridge where you can't help them if something goes awry, right?
Sure.
Right. And we use a phrase a lot called change your viewpoint, because and it's one of the funniest things, prior to working on the Dockmate team inside, I was installing in the Midwest. And one of the funniest things that ever happens when you install a Dockmate is you got to literally wedge the guy away from the helm. They get it in their hands and they still stand there like they're glued to the helm.
Yeah.
You kind of got to say, hey, you can move around a little bit now. You can take it in. But once they get comfortable, it's truly an awesome tool. There's always a little pushback. There's always a little, I know how to drive my boat. And I like to think of it like, I could shave my face with a sharpened rock too, but there's a better tool for the job.
Well, we were talking about that earlier in the show, that I know a lot of women that can drive boats better than men, and I know a lot of men who think they know everything about driving a boat. So, this is kind of technology coming along that is really for everybody, and
Sure.
I could see that now that you say that. I could see that the biggest problem is they want to run it with it in their hands, standing where they normally stand, because they don't know anything different.
Absolutely, it's one of those things that we see all the time. I did a retuning of a Dockmate a while back in Fort Myers, and this really wonderful guy. You know, he's literally, we're going out this channel and the wind's blowing a little bit and he's still standing behind the helmet. I'm going, you know, you get a really much better look at what you're about to hit if you get over there on the port bow. And kind of his belt went off, you know, and he went walking over, and from there his technique just solidified. He was just perfect, you know. But a lot of it is that. I mean, the way they build boats today, they're built more about comfort and you know, they seem to be comfortable things that are now boats as opposed to being boats with creature comforts, right?
Sure.
So there's a lot of blind sites and areas where it's just great to be able to move into the cockpit, move to the back of the bridge. You know, every azimuth motor yacht that's ever been built has those really cool sponsons on the outside, and I don't know how you judge for that from the cockpit. Like, I just don't know, like, how you just get a mental image of where that is, you know.
Yeah.
So, and lastly, you know, I don't know if your family's anything like my family. You know, some days they call out 4 feet behind the boat, and some days that 4 feet is 8 feet, and sometimes it's 2 feet. So it's just better to get your own eyes on it,
Yeah.
and make sure that you're doing. You know, it really does save people from over controlling, because they see the reaction in real time, not even like through a backup camera or a screen or any of that stuff. I mean, it's just so it's such a big advantage in my heart. You know, I believe it's a great tool. I'm so proud to represent the brand. You know, and there's a lot of reasons why it's a great tool, and you know, we can kind of get into that if you like. But
yeah. Tell us a little bit how this all came about. I mean, how long has Dockmate been in business?
So, you know, it's interesting because it's kind of a long history. The first time I met the guys who invented Dockmate was in a previous job for me in probably, God, I bet you 2010, and they hadn't come to the United States market yet. They were already making some headway in Europe, and I met them at Metz in Amsterdam, and then, you know, fast forward a few years, quite a few years. During COVID, the current president and the guy who brought Dockmate to the U.S. and if my memory serves me correct, it was 2016, might have been 16, 17. He made a deal with the Dockmate guys, and we do something that I think is really important. Very different than all of the other products out there. We actually assemble this here in the U.S. in Fort Lauderdale.
Oh, very nice.
We have the same test bench, the same thing. He felt at the time, and it was really a great move, because I've worked for a couple European products before this. You know, one of the stigmas in boating is that you know, if something breaks, I have to deal with Europe to get parts or whatever. So we stock out all our own stuff. They get assembled here. They get tested here. We do a 24-hour burn-in process where we make sure all the components are stable, and then we package them up and ship them out to our dealers. We also handle all our own warranty here in the U.S. So there's no, like, waiting for something to get shipped from, you know, our suppliers, you know.
Right.
But yeah, Mark brought it to the U.S. in, if I want to say 2015, 16, I guess. It might even be 19, to be quite honest. I think we're in our 6th year. Yeah, be 19. So, and we've been going big guns ever since. You know, currently we have about 70 nationwide dealers everywhere from the Pacific Northwest to Key West. We got people that cover installation and warranty and those kinds of things. But what I think what really segregates this product from a lot is, and we're starting to use this year, we're starting to use the phrase like dare to compare.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're in a position where you're attaching to other OEM products, right? So you have to you're walking kind of a fine line. But these guys from Belgium, the original developers of Dockmate, you know, they've done their due diligence, and all our interfaces are acknowledged by the OEMs. They're high-level interfaces, and what that means to the owner-operator is we have a much broader range of control. Like, we have a large access to the throttle. You know, we also have put in some of our own safety features to counteract some of the things that weren't thought of before wireless control, let's say. Like now with Dockmate, all stations have to be in neutral before you take command with the Dockmate. You know, in earlier versions of electronic throttles, some throttles have a true command takeover and some don't, right? So, like, I know I don't know off the top of my name which one, but there's a throttle system that you can leave the helm downstairs, walk up to the bridge, and when you sync the throttles with the RPMs that they match the original station, it jumps station.
Oh, wow.
But now that it's wireless and that station can be anywhere, we put in our own safety features to make sure that nothing can happen unexpectedly, if you know what I'm saying.
Sure, yeah.
The other thing it's really been great for, with the amount of throttle we're allowed to work with, it's broken into this whole new outboard market, because outboards are lower torque, higher RPM.
Right.
You need to have a little more control of the throttle to actually get control of the boat. But like I said, truly it's a great product. It's a great tool, great for great loopers. I can't even express how it just eliminates that need to over control. Because if you ever watch a guy hit something, right?
Yeah.
I've seen, myself included. But what happens is you have a perception in your head about how far you are from something, and you either over or under control, right? Because you can't see.
Right.
Well, you get rid of all that with this product. I can be out on the bow, I can be in the cockpit, I can be wherever. And the other part is you wear it around your neck, you still have access to the thrusters. So when you get off and you're tying your lines, if you want to adjust, you can, you bump the boat forward, bump the boat back a little, use the thruster to push it into the dock to tighten the line. It's pretty handy.
Wow.
Yeah. So you wear it around your neck?
You can.
It
comes with a lanyard. And it is all our stuff is IP67 waterproof. If it falls in the water, you just got to fish it out and dry it off, and it'll be good to go. You don't have to put it in rice bowls or the microwave or stuff like that. We have integrations for just about every known boat on the planet. I think our list of supported controls right now is over 277 different throttles and thrusters and things. So
wow.
We certainly, that's why we say, can you get a Dockmate on your boat? Yes, you can. Because chances are we've got a configuration that fits.
Well, I would think that would be a big question, how far back, how old a boat, that kind of thing. I would think that a lot of people might think that their boat wouldn't adapt to this or not, but it sounds like you guys have figured a lot of that technology out.
Absolutely. Yeah. Believe it or not, we even have a solution for guys with mechanical throttles.
Oh.
So we partnered with Glendinning, and they built us an actuator specific for our purpose. And it does, not unfortunately, but in those particular cases, the guys who have purchased those are mostly big diesels, like older Hatterases and stuff, that have a pretty good bite on the prop, so they don't need any throttle. Because all it's doing is going to just do gears only, and then your thrusters. But the people who have it, they enjoy it. It works. But we can do that. It's hard to always say, because during the course of electronic throttles, 2001, say 2000 to 2004, that was the beginning of that whole era, really, right? Mm-hmm. So, and we do have analog configurations for those, and we're only limited by what the OEMs allow us. So in the older boats, you might have an older boat that might have to be gears only. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But we have a configuration for just about everything.
Wow, that's amazing. Wow. And you guys obviously do a lot of boat shows. And I was talking about earlier, you're going to be down at the Palm Beach International Boat Show, March the 25th through the 29th, booth 829.
Yep,
so,
we're outside in the row of tents, like right when you walk into the show. And we love that there. We get a lot of one of the things about Dockmate is everybody who owns a Dockmate really becomes part of the Dockmate family.
Yeah.
We get, we're not supposed to say this, but we always have our keg of Stella, our Belgian beer. We probably get, I don't know, half our traffic over the course of a boat show is generally customers that come back to say hi and tell us what a great time they're having with the product. So it's very well received, and we love seeing them. We love being part of their family too.
So wow. Is it really the biggest part about it is the fear that people are just afraid that they're not in control? Sure.
Yeah. I mean, it's truthfully, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've been boating for a long time, but the way I see it, there are people, don't get me wrong. I've met guys that shouldn't drive a boat with a captain.
Yeah, I think we all know those people. Yeah.
Yeah. But given that, I think, it takes a lot of the fear out. And what I mentioned before, I think is probably one of the more prominent things is that you tend to not over control the boat, right? You're not getting nervous and you're not overreacting because our joystick product is really concise. We have several different things. I guess I should probably break that down, but we have a joystick product, and we actually have two of them. Our Vector, which is one of the easier ones to explain, that's a joystick product for boats that already have a joystick.
Oh, okay.
And basically, so any boat that the motors articulate to turn, right? So like Volvo IPS or Mercury JPO, Yamaha Helmmaster with a joystick. Our other product, the Twist, we can take like shaft line boats that have a bow thruster and make it act like a joystick boat.
Oh.
Because of the level of programmability, we can balance the props and thruster to make the boat walk sideways, just like a joystick boat, and all that kind of stuff. The other products, we have two different push button products. We have what we call our Red, which is an analog product for those older boats we talked about, which is a gears only, bow and stern thruster control, horn is on it. All the products come with anchor control, optional anchor control, but a horn, and the ability to connect to the bow or bow and stern. And then we have our Twin, which is another push button product, and that has a couple of really cool features. One is we call it soft docking. So soft docking is a predetermined amount of time set on your transmission. So I can take the Twin and I can just momentarily push the button, go chick, and we programmatically tell it how long to go in gear. So let's say you have a brand new 72-foot azimuth that when you put it into gear, it snaps your neck back. I can put a very short amount of time in there. Or let's say you have a 50-foot Katie Krogren that when you put it in gear, it takes 3 or 4 seconds to start moving off the dock. I can put in a longer amount of time. But the cool part about that is, especially when you get a new boat, that push button, it's consistent all the time. So you gain confidence really quickly because the boat does the same thing all the time.
Nice.
The other feature on the Twin is, and it's also available on the Twist, is what we call Throttle Plus, right? And Throttle Plus is you can press and hold that button. So the easiest way for me to ever describe this is to describe it like you're doing it, right? So you're pulling away from the dock, momentary push, you get away from the dock. As you're starting to pull out into the aisleway, press and hold, and it will ramp up a little bit of throttle and give you a little boost. If you need that throttle immediately, you can also press the command button at the same time as you press the control, the forward button, and it'll come on right now to give you a good bump.
Oh, very cool.
Our newest release is what we call the Dockmate Pro. And the Dockmate Pro is truly the only lever action remote control in the business. And so it basically has automotive grade levers in the controller. So it's probably the one that's the most, feels more like what you're doing at the helm.
Yeah.
Right. It's a bump to go into it's got little ergonomic indentations for your thumbs. And so you have a way to bump into gear. And then once you go past the indentation there, you push forward and you can have proportional throttle.
Oh, very cool.
Which is really it also has a really cool clear view display. So it tells you all the stuff that's going on, how much thrust you're putting forward or how much thruster you're using. It'll tell you if your thruster battery is getting low or any of that stuff. It's a really cool, intuitive product, And then lastly, we also we're a 2-time Miami Innovation Award winner. First time was 2 years ago with our version of dynamic positioning. It's probably the best DPS that I've ever been associated with or been on. I've been around the controls industry since about 2010. And this works. There's an intuitive feature to our DPS that's awesome. We have 3 different modes of dynamic positioning. We have what we call our precision mode, where if you have proportional thrusters, we use them along with your engines, and it will hold your position and your heading. Very, very tight tolerance. Our other version is what we call ocean mode. If you have basic on-off thrusters or even no thrusters, you can hit this, and what it will do is the boat will hold position, but then it will weather vane the back of the boat into the strongest point of resistance, whether that be wind and or current, and it'll pull into that. So it will hold the heading once it settles in, give or take a little. But it's using engines only, no thrusters at all.
Wow.
And then our newest version of DPS is what we call drift lock, made specifically really for fishermen. So using the engines only, you activate drift lock, and the boat will hold heading using engines only, but it will drift with the current and or the wind. So let's say you set up a kite, you set up your kite fishing, off of Fort Lauderdale. It'll hold that heading and let you drift with the wind and keep your lines straight.
So it's also helping your fishing skills here.
And I don't not only that, but think about it. How many days? I mean, I don't fish a ton, but when I do, it's pretty hot in Florida come summer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be really nice if I could have the boat drifting along and I could be on the shady side of it while I'm fishing.
Dockmate, making life better all the time.
Oh, man, I tell you what, we're just finding all kind of ways to roll with this. But that is an incredible product.
It really is. And it's really interesting. So just another little FYI, we did a couple of surveys through, other media platforms. We won't tell who those guys are, but they did a good job with the surveys. We were amazed. Believe it or not, about 38% of the boaters of some quite large boating publications, right? Mm-hmm. About 38% of them didn't even know this technology existed yet. And another 42% of them, 41% of them, I think, knew it existed but didn't know enough to pull the trigger to try to buy one. So the marketplace is still untapped. I mean, we still have a long way to go before we hit any kind of threshold. And, we met our goals last year, of the number of units we were looking to sell, and it keeps growing every year. But there's still a lot of room for that people don't understand what this does and how it benefits them, really.
Yeah, I mean, you could easily look at this. I know when we first met you guys at one of the boat shows, it may have been Jacksonville, I can't remember now, but it seemed like, it feels like new technology. But hearing you talk about it, it's been around quite some time. So yeah, it's definitely an untapped market for sure.
And truthfully, one of the things I'm really pushing for this year is to get the public to be aware. It's funny because anything that you hold in your hand, right, is kind of gadgety, right? Because especially, and I can't say how old you guys are, but I know how old I am. You know what I mean? As a kid, looking at the funny papers, watching Dick Tracy with a watch that you talk on was just come on.
Yeah, well, that was the Jetsons when I grew up.
Right. Yeah, George's job was to just sit and push a button. Remember?
Yeah.
Right. But anyway, it kind of comes with an initial gadgety idea.
Yeah.
And one thing I really want to stress is that because of the amount of effort put into these high-level integrations, right? We're not the cheapest wireless remote, but in my heart, I believe we are the safest, the most reliable, and you have the most flexibility. So what you're actually paying for, you're getting, right? We can adjust the boat. One of the nicest stories about Dockmate was we had a guy. It's quite a few years ago now, but he bought a joystick or twist remote, and he had it for about 2 weeks, and he called back and he goes, "You got to take this thing off the boat. It won't go straight. It won't go forward." And so we do what we do. We go back to the boat, and we can see what he's doing on our what we call Dock Control 2 software. That's where we make all our adjustments for you.
Yeah.
Turns out this gentleman had Parkinson's, and when he was using the controller, he was shaking, and it was always bumping into the 45-degree slot. So we were able to do two things. We were able to widen out that slot so it made it harder for him to hit it out of center. But we were also able to take the control of the joystick and kind of mellow that out a little bit, so kind of almost compensated for his handshake. And the guy was thrilled. Because once he engaged it, his hand kind of stopped shaking, right? It's
sure.
That initial in between. But, but that's all possible because of the way we're integrated. You know what I mean? There's just so many things that are so well thought out on this product. It still never ceases to amaze me.
Well, that part right there is amazing in itself. Not only was you able to help him and get more comfortable, you guys learned something through that process as well. And so the calibration part of it can be adjusted to fit the boat and all that other stuff, right?
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, that's what I mean. When you get done, you have to remember too, and there's just no getting around this, in the joystick products, more so than the push buttons, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're moving a joystick that's this tall, right? So like on a regular joystick, you might have 4 inches of throw or 3 inches of throw. We got about an inch to work with. So we have to have a lot of adjustability to make it feel like you're moving it kind of the same amount in your hand as you were at the helm.
Right.
And we can make that happen for you. I mean, it creates a level of comfort that I think people need to make it work well. You know what I mean?
Sure.
And again, I can't speak enough about, the integration, because that's really where it's all at. And we're very progressive with all this, The other part, I think, I don't know, there's probably a lot of dealers out there listening maybe,
Mm-hmm.
but people that would like potentially to become a Dockmate dealer, it's a great partnership if you're willing to sell the product, you know what I mean, and work with us. We support our dealers very well. We're very loyal to them. We don't, jump dealerships and go get orders if they don't get it put together. There's just a lot of benefits. I mean, I believe we're a great company to work with, and we're also a great supporting company for the end user. If you buy a boat, right? If you buy a boat that already has a Dockmate, my boss Mark is absolutely adamant about this. We give 2 hours to any one of our dealers to come out and just reacclimate it, teach you how the product's supposed to work. Right? It's just free to you. You buy a boat that's already got a Dockmate, you get free instruction.
Wow.
And our goal is to really make we call it the ultimate boating companion. Giving you a better boating experience, right? And we believe that. That's what we're really all about as a company.
Well, that's fantastic. And of course, being here in the USA, if you needed parts or you needed someone to come out like the guy had Parkinson's or whatever, that's a plus as well. So you may not be the cheapest out there, but you got the support to stand behind the product, and that means a lot.
Yep. And not only I hate to say it, not just the support, but the passion and business acumen that we just believe it's the right thing to do.
Sure.
You know what I mean? There's a point where, we've all been there. We've all bought something in our lives that you get and you're not exactly happy with, and you get no help, right? But this, you won't have that problem working with Dockmate.
We've got a lot of people listening in on the radio and on chiming in from YouTube from Key West to California. So yeah, there's a lot of people out there that may know somebody that wants to be a dealer, and I'm sure as we progress along over this and working with you guys over the next year, we might be able to help you with that side of it as well. But I think it's an amazing, it was kind of new to me. I mean, I knew, like a lot of people, that these products were out there, but I never dived into it. So once we discovered it and started talking to you guys, it's really just opened up my mind about how easier you can make your life if you're willing to try.
Sure, absolutely. I mean, it's a true benefit, in my opinion, And again, just like we were talking about before, it sounds silly, but in a basic job, I'm not calling carpenters basic by any means.
No.
In a basic job where you're pounding nails for a living, guys have different hammers for different nails, right? You're not going to roof a whole house with a tack hammer.
No.
So, so there's always this kind of, for lack of a better word, this captain's code of I should be able to dock my boat through anything. But I really am at a point where I'm trying to debunk the gadget myth. It's not giving you anything more than you already have. It's just allowing you to use the right hammer for the right job, right? To be on deck. I have to tell you a story because that's kind of what I do, I guess. But when I was a kid, I had a 24-foot Sea Ray, right? My mom and dad were with me, and I grew up in Chicago. The whole getting a boat thing was a strange coincidence in my life. I mean, we were blue collar people, never thought about boats.
Yeah.
Just thought about putting food on the table.
Sure.
But anyway, my mom had this dream. There was this place on Navy Pier before the big expansion called Rocky's Shrimp Market, right? Now, why anybody would think you'd have this great shrimp on Navy Pier, because there's no shrimp in Lake Michigan, but it just seemed to be a thing. So anyway, we went by boat. And at one point, my mom was probably at that point in her late 50s maybe, right? And she went up on the bow, okay, with a line, and my dad was in the back of the boat with a line, and they had these D rings where you dock, right?
Right.
And I told my mom, I said, I need you to run that line through the D ring, and then I'm going to back up because they're like way far apart. And my boat's only 20 feet long. So I'm going to back up, and then Dad will get the one in the back, and then you guys just hold them, and I'll come tie them off. Great. So as I'm backing up, I'm looking at my father, and I look back, and my mother's got the line in her hand like this, and I'm watching her as she's leaning over the rail, and literally went over the bow of the boat into the water, held on so tight that she broke her arm.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, Lord.
I had to fish her out and sit her on the swim platform and putz her, go slowly back to, where we had the boat, and took her to the hospital and stuff. And all I could think about in that sequence is it would have just been a whole different animal if I was free to move.
Yeah.
Right. What you would avoid there. And that's a real life thing, that happened in my world, and I just look at it, just escalates from there. As the boat gets bigger, there's just more and more room for error. Right.
Sure.
So.
Yeah, we were watching the video earlier, and the sheer fact that she's walking up to the bow and seeing that she has plenty of room, right? I mean, these are things that you just normally won't do, so you can't see, and you're making all kinds of mistakes without even knowing. No matter how good you are, there's boat captains out there that never make a mistake in their mind that we know of. Anyway, we don't ever see it, but it's not everybody has that confidence.
Right. No, it's true. I know. I always tell people sometimes ask, like, well, what did you do before, like, Dockmate? I said, well, you hit stuff until you stop hitting it. There's no need for that. You could avoid all that if you want.
That's right. That's right.
So, it's just another, we have another interesting story. There's a guy from Michigan, a really nice man. He's probably on his third Dockmate by now, different boats,
Yeah.
But when he first came to the booth, he told my boss, he said, I don't need this thing. I don't even have any idea why anybody want it. Well, the next spring he went to Michigan, and it was Aprilish, cold, right? And he steps off of the boat, trips on a cleat, drops the line, boat's blowing off, and he's watching his wife and children blow away.
Oh my goodness.
Too cold to dive in and swim, right? But luckily he got them back. But the day after, he just called up and said, here's my credit card.
Yeah, here's my credit card, because, if I had that Dockmate around my neck, I would have been able to just kind of,
transfer them back in, whatever you need.
Yeah.
And, that's also worth mentioning. We do guarantee 165 feet in every direction from the receiver. So realistically, most of the receivers get mounted on the flybridge. So, you probably we've seen, that's what we guarantee. We range check everything after we install. We walk down the dock and blow the horn until it won't blow anymore. And we did a training class in the Fort Myers Marine Max last week for their technicians.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah, they brought guys in from everywhere from Savannah to Pensacola. And the boat that we had was a 50 cruisers that they were putting this on for a customer, and that's what we used it as a training opportunity. And I was probably 500 feet away from that thing still blowing the horn, with no issue. So the range is not there. We use an advanced technology called spread spectrum signal hopping. Mm-hmm. And what that does is the actual units there's two-way communication between our receiver and the handheld unit, making it very safe. But what it really does is we change 6 channels 6 times a second. Right? So you're always rotating. And what that means is every time you are connected with the Dockmate to the receiver, you have the full bandwidth of that channel.
Gotcha.
And bandwidth is what shortens distances, what makes things unstable, I don't know if you guys got kids, when my kids were young and they'd be gaming online, your TV would almost freeze. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, watching Netflix. So, but that's what we avoid with that technology. Same kind of technology that they use that like Bluetooth works in your car, and that's why it always works. Once it's paired up, nobody can get on that channel, but we rotate the channel so you get the full bandwidth all the time.
That's fantastic. So, yeah. The Bluetooth technology and everything has, being in radio for the last 10, 12 years, I've had to go through that process from having people sync up their apps. When we first started out, they'd have to plug in their app into their car, and then the different types of cars, that newer cars coming out with technology to sync up and all this stuff. So we've kind of went through that process over the years with radio. So. That's the better the technology, which has opened up the door for you guys to even be even better. Yeah.
I think, and I like to think we're the best. I really do. There's always something, but I always say too, there are, there's obviously, I don't know how I can say this the way I want to say it, but there's other brands, right?
Yeah.
And some of them a little longer tenure than we do, right? Just got here first kind of thing. And but I always like to say it this way: you don't see a Wright Brothers counter at the airport. Like somebody made it better, right? So,
sure.
Like at this point, I feel like that's where we're at. We've made, and we're a continuous improvement company. We're constantly coming out. I mean, the DPS thing was a thought just 4 years ago, and we got that going. And then the two different versions that made sense to us, because we want to keep the OEMs happy. They do us the grace of allowing us to connect and connect at a level that's safe and reliable, right? And we don't want to do anything to make them upset. Even, in that case, our dynamic positioning or DPS, we only do on shaft line boats, on boats where the motors do not articulate. Like we don't interfere. We don't want to mess with, like Volvo has their own DPS, Mercury has their own DPS, Skyhook they call it. We don't infringe on any of those because we'll activate them as an option through the handheld. So you could, press a button on the Dockmate and activate the DPS that's on that boat. But if you have a boat that doesn't have that DPS option, like a shaft line boat with thrusters, then we can put that option on for you.
I got you. Well, I was wondering how that would work with like warranties of boats. Does it mess with, because you're moving the throttle and you're taking over the throttle and all that? Do boats complain about such things?
This is a really delicate subject, but you'll notice I use the word acknowledged, right? And so here's the real backbone behind that, and that's that, we live in a litigious society, right?
To say the least.
And, so, given that, I'm going to pretend I'm a big OEM. I'm never going to give you permission to access my stuff, because if some guy goes out and has 15 martinis and hits a brick wall with the boat and the insurance guys come in, right, then at that point, they just want to point their finger at somebody. And, Dockmate's a sizable company. We're growing in leaps and bounds in the U.S. and in Europe. But at the end of the day, they're not going to sue us. They're going to go after the big guys.
Right.
Right. So that means that, so to avoid that, if they didn't want us on the boats, they wouldn't sell us the parts to connect, because we buy all our parts from the OEMs.
Right.
The connectors and all that stuff. But they could never say it's approved. Right. Now, I can tell you this, in the amount of time that Dockmate's been here in the U.S., there's never been a warranty claim that was, the coolest part about Dockmate is we're so modular. If you have to, we can unplug the cables, you can bypass us, and if the problem still happens, it's not us.
Right.
Right. So I think that's the reason that they don't. The only thing that ever came into play on any of that scenario was on Volvos, right? Like the way it gets a little technical, but generally when we're on a boat, we're considered another station. Okay. Like, if it was a fixed station, it might be a third cockpit station, right? But we're the same thing, but wireless.
Gotcha.
Okay? So what ends up happening sometimes is a guy will have his Dockmate and he'll throw it in a drawer, and it's not, visibly available for the Volvo technician to see.
Oh.
And he's looking for something. So what they've asked us to do, and we do on every boat, that like on Volvo, is we put a sticker that the boat has a Dockmate on it, so that when the technician's there, he's just not confused. So they're not. If they really didn't want you doing it, right, you'd have a problem. But it's something. I think it's becoming so mainstream now that that we're getting more and more OEM participation. Even some of the boat builders, we're listed as an option on a lot of the boats these days.
Well,
Katie Krogan, Celine, Horizon Power Cats. A bunch. We're listed an option, so we're becoming more credible.
Well, yeah, we had Marine Max on the show before from one of the boat shows, and they actually mentioned you guys during the interview, which is kind of how we got interested in you guys. But, again, being at these boat shows seems to be the way to go, and if you're at least a bit interested, I imagine you guys do boat shows all over the country.
Well, I always tell people, when I die and my life flashes before my eyes, it'll just be one long boat show.
I can imagine.
We do a few. And then one of the things that we do as well is we support all our dealers. So, like, generally, it's hard to be everywhere, but we have a really great co-op program for our dealers. So let's say if, we're tied up in Palm Beach and I got I have another dealer that's got a smaller, say, boat show in San Diego. We work a co-op program with them where we help them with some of that. And we actually, I bought, we're up to like 4 now, like Dockmate, what we call rental booths.
Wow.
So if you're a smaller operator and you're going to take this on, we'll send you a Dockmate backdrop and you're set up for the booth and simulator and all that stuff. We just try to get the best word out there that we can. And we always pick, I got to tell you, we love our dealer network. The guys are all, they all share the same passion we do. And it feels like we're working with family all the time. And, it's just, it's pretty amazing. I got to tell you, to be at my age and be this excited about being involved with a product, and involved with the people that deal with the product is really an amazing place to be in life.
Well, you can definitely see the passion that you have for this, and we're hoping to help you through this process. And again, you guys are going to be at the Palm Beach International Boat Show, booth 829, March the 25th through the 29th.
Yeah. Don't tell anybody, but you can come have a beer with us anytime you want.
Yeah, shh, y'all don't say it. Y'all didn't hear that part, but anyway.
You can hear that in the monitor, Danny. I got you.
Right. You bleep that out.
Yeah, there you go. Well, listen, we appreciate you guys joining us today, helping us educate us on everything we didn't know. We covered a lot of information, and we've got your links over on our website on Tiki Man Radio, and of course, we're going to have your logo during the show, and we'll also feature it on another show on Sunday called Sunday Mornings with a Tiki Man. It's airs every week from 10 to 1. We'll be playing some of the videos over there. Is there anything else you want to cover before we let you fly?
No, I'm pretty good. I feel like I said, there's all the information in the world out there. Obviously we have a YouTube channel. Probably have your boat on there somewhere. Just look up the boat.
Yeah.
Our website's pretty clear. Dockmate.us. And please, love to hear from you. Just, I don't know, making boating better one boat at a time or something. I'm just coming up with a new tagline.
Yeah, well, as you say, at this point, making life easier is about as good as you can do with everything you got going on in your life, So, well, listen, we appreciate you joining us, and we're going to let you fly, and you guys are going to be videoing in. Will it be you every month, or is it going to be someone else?
Actually, we're going to rotate in and out. I'll probably get you my, there's different angles for this. I'll probably get you Jeremy Buckley, my director of sales. Okay. I also have one of my dealers who's pretty personable and a lot of fun to talk to, Captain Dave Kellerman, 1 month. We'll rotate, and I'm sure I'll be back. Even my boss, Mark Carreri, I'm sure I'll get him on board. And, this is, like I said, this being our first one, threw me to the wolves.
Well, we'll make it happen. You guys get us a schedule of when you want to do it. That way we can promote it ahead of time and let everybody know that they're going to be able to get some more information as you guys join us. But we appreciate you being here, man.
Appreciate being here. You guys have a great rest of your show.
Absolutely. We look forward to working with you guys. There you go. Dockmate, everybody. You can go over to TikiManRadio.com, click on that. It is also Dockmate.us. US, yeah. Dockmate.us is their website. You can search that, and we'll be bringing you some more information on it. But right now, we're going to Radio Network.
has made us say, let's take a holiday and find a place where we can have some fun. The week went by so slow, and now it's time to go and enjoy the beaches, sky, and sun. Yeah, weekends on the island will put us back on track while tanning on our backs. Weekends on the island will make a special time for me and you. The week went by so slow, and now it's time to go to places where the sky and bay are blue. We'll pack the suntan oil, we're through with strife and toil. Our friends will wish they were down here too. Yeah, weekends on the island will put us back on track while tanning on our backs. Weekends on the island will make a special time for me and you. On the island will put us back on track while tanning on our backs. Weekends on the island will make a special time for me and you. We'll warm our spirits and our point of view. We'll make a special time for me and you.
No trop rock in your office? That's what we call what the hell moment on the island. Get your act together. Coastal Americana Radio Network.
Walks a lot from all around, and we haven't even left the dock. The sun sets, moon shines, jumping in day or night. We won't ever even need a clock. Living up in leg days, I got a little swag going on. Could be the drinks in my hand or them both ways. Yeah, yeah. Not a care in the world once the motor hits the water. Get a little loose, let the water be my muse. Float around, getting kissed by the sun till the end of the leg days. I'm soaking in a leg days. Glassy top fog lift, skiers first to take a dip. At night are sleeping in way past 10. Stay cool, hold tight. If the barber takes a dive, doesn't matter if you boat or swim. Living up the leg days, I got a little swag going on. Could be the drinks in my hand or them both ways. Yeah, yeah. the sun till the end of the leg day. I'm soaking in a leg days. I'm already thinking about the next weekend down, living up the leg days. I got a little sway going on, could be the drinks in my hand or the boat waves. Yeah, yeah. Not a care in the world once the motor hits the water. Get a little loose, let the water be my muse. Float around, getting kissed by the sun till the end of the leg day. I'm soaking in a leg days.
Yeah, little lake days right there. It is the weekend, man. We finally made it. Happy Friday to everybody out there. And it's been a long week around here, but man, what's some great information from Dockmate there?
Yeah, I got to tell you what, that was just incredible. And that's an incredible product. And I'm really looking forward to, learning more about it and hopefully someday getting on the water with them or with somebody who's got Dockmate and give it a try.
Yeah. I mean, I love working with people that have passion about what they do. And clearly they got passion about Dockmate for sure.
Oh, yeah. It's like a family operation. And even when I like what he said, we've all bought something that didn't work the way it was supposed to work. And then you don't get that, customer service like you should after the purchase.
Sure.
Well, they go beyond that. They make sure that, they stand behind their product and stand behind their word. And I think that right there is huge in today's world.
Listen, Johnny, people go out and buy brand new cars and can't drive them. They're scared to get out of the driveway with them, because they got so many different things. And so, like anything else, there's a whole lot of education that goes into any kind of new product or whatever. But this is not new. It's been around a long time. And that's a great thing, too, because they've perfected it. They've went through scenarios. They've discovered things like the guy with Parkinson's, and being able to adjust that and making his life a whole lot better or whatever, So as long as people will, ask the right questions and communicate correctly, it sounds to me like Dockmate can fix any of your problems.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. And I wanted to ask him, but I didn't want to interrupt. But, does Michael Jordan's boat use Dockmate? I've watched his boat dock. But, here's an interesting idea. Is to go out and, if we could reach out to some of these celebrities who have the big yachts.
Yeah.
And just ask them if they would like to come on the air and share their experience with Dockmate, since Dockmate is one of our official sponsors.
Sure.
Like B-Man. B-Man could, next time he says, hey, Kenny, hey, Kenny, by the way, does your boat use Dockmate?
Yeah, I don't know if you want Michael Jordan out there on the bow. I would think that it would tip over just a little bit. Maybe the captain is like, listen, I'm going to need you to stand in the middle of the boat.
I tell you what, he's low profile on the boat. And, he's a pretty big fella. But, the whole crowd is there to capture a glimpse of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
And I've watched the videos, he steps out of the deck house and boom, the crowd starts applauding, But it would be so great to get those type of A-list artists, A-list entertainers, and get them to share their experience with us on the air about their Dockmate as well as their boat. We are a boating community here.
That's right.
I grew up in a sport fishing household. Professional sport fishing. I grew up on boats too. Well, I was a radar sat nav tech on merchant ships. All right. So, yeah. That goes way back.
Well, Golden, that was here last week, who brought it, I always say that he's the man with the golden cornbread. They came over last week as we had the going away gathering for B-Dog and Lou, but he just bought a new boat. So my question for him, tomorrow or Sunday is going to be probably, do you have Dockmate on this brand new boat? Because, he's had to have his knees replaced. He's had to have all this stuff. It's all about comfort at this point in our lives. It really is. But it's for anybody, obviously. So, but I could see that this would be a benefit for him. So I'm definitely going to be talking to him about it.
Yeah, and there's another reason why this is a great product, because it's a safety-oriented product. All right, there's been some pretty bad boating incidents at marinas and docks with people falling overboard, reaching for lines,
sure,
and getting hurt. And this is something that can be avoided.
Well, it goes with our theme when we started this show, right? Safety on the water was a huge thing that we wanted to focus on, keeping the water clean. And safety on the water and connecting the beach house with the lake house. And so we're starting to bring those pieces together. But safety, I can see this being a huge safety factor on the water.
Yeah. And I like the drift, how you can do the drift while you're kite fishing, because I've done kite fishing. And actually, he mentioned off Fort Lauderdale. And I did it off Fort Lauderdale. The only thing I caught was a big ass, like 6-foot hammerhead shark, which we cut loose, by the way.
Yeah. Let that thing go.
Yeah. I don't want anything to do with it. But yeah, it falls under also the acronym SOLAS, SOLAS, saving of lives at sea. And that's very important. So if you're off the coast, yes, you are at sea. You're not in a harbor. You're drift fishing. And you want to keep that, the bow the way the wind's blowing. There's a big safety feature here, so you don't have to constantly run up to the helm, back to the helm, or up to the bridge, down, all that. I like it. I love it. I'm just going to learn more about it.
Well, and we are. That's what we're going to be. We're going to be the ambassadors of this before it's all over with, for sure. But I could see how. Getting people out of that comfort zone, they're afraid to use. They're standing there at the, with the wheel in their hand. They're afraid to use it. So, even though they bought it, they bought into the idea of it or whatever. You got to get people out of their comfort zone to get comfortable with it. So that's probably a lot of the process as well. But it's a fantastic product. I love the fact that you can get the parts and the service right here in the USA. And, you're not waiting on parts to come from wherever. It sounds like they got a lot of support, and they definitely have 100% passion behind what they're doing. So that means a lot with anybody you're dealing with.
Absolutely. And I could see that. He's passionate about the product, and he's passionate about the service.
Sure.
And I'm looking forward to interviewing all the other guests they want to send us who are involved with Dockmate.
Yeah, I think that's going to be fun. They're going to come on the show once a month. We'll work out a schedule with those guys. It's the second week, the third, whatever it is. We're going to work around their schedule, obviously. But we'll get to a point to where we can promote it and say, this is the person who's going to be there. This and we can get different perspectives from different people, which helps us with our education process of this whole part of what we're doing here. But again, you can go to dockmate.us. You can search that and go over to their website, check out more. And as we go along here, we'll be putting out videos as well on our YouTube channel and doing promotional pieces for them as well on all of our social media. And they're going to be down at the Palm Beach International Boat Show, booth 829. March 25th through the 29th. So make sure you, if you're in that area and you want to go and check it out, get some more information. That's what it's all about right now.
Yeah, man.
Well, Johnny
We're
B.
on board now.
Yeah, Johnny B. We appreciate. I appreciate you being here again, being my partner in crime for another week. The weekend is here, and man, that 2 hours went by fast.
Sure does. It's an honor to be here, Danny. Thank you for having me. And I just want to say happy Friday, everybody.
Happy Friday, everybody. We're going to let everybody fly. If you hadn't hit that like button yet, please do so. That helps us out tremendously, helps us continue to do what we do. And we appreciate Dockmate coming on board as the sponsor for Weekdays with the Tiki Man and Johnny B. And we're going to let you guys fly, and we will see you guys on the Sunday show, Sunday mornings with the Tiki Man, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. this coming Sunday. But, Johnny, have a great weekend, man.
Yes, sir. You too, brother.
All right, buddy.
Great day, everybody.
Take it easy.